Welcome to the Necronama.com, where we're spending all of October looking at 31 episodes of the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. Today, we're looking at Treehouse 13 from November 3rd, 2002. I am James Sabata.
I'm Don Guillory.
And I'm Thomas Brungardt.
Is it just me, or did they work harder on the name of the second skit than they did the rest of the episode?
and it's not even that good of a name.
Oh, I didn't say they pulled it off. Oh, man.
I think the best part of the whole episode is the cold open where they summon Maud.
Yeah.
And then it's all downhill from there.
Oh, man. Well, I'll kick it off.
This is the first time they used the Treehouse of Horror name in the actual title sequence.
Right.
Is this the first time?
It's been a Halloween special up until now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I know. I keep, not looking, so I had no idea. I'm just so sick of this. No, I'm just kidding. But I do tend to skip the intro a lot, so that's probably on me. So, send in the clones. I will take, because I actually like this one. So the plot is Homer picks up a new hammock down in the hammock district, and it's magical, and it makes clones of himself or anything else that anybody spins in it, because why wouldn't you spin things in your hammock? And then there's all these clones, and they run amok, and they cause problems, and at the end, we find out that the Homer that's in bed with Marge isn't the real Homer because he walked off a cliff really early in the episode. So the reason I like this is I love the film Multiplicity, and that's clearly what they were making fun of here, and just given the time and stuff. But I really hate that they didn't do a "She touched my Pepe Steve" joke.
Wow.
So what do you guys think of this one?
All right. I don't have problems with this, but I do have some concerns. Historical concerns, because you're talking about the late 90s. I mean, this was a 2002 episode, but the late 90s, early 2000s, there was that discussion and examination of cloning. You had Dolly the sheep. You had these discussions about the ethics of cloning and things like that. And so when I watched this episode, I rewatched this episode. It's one of those things that you look at and you think, okay, it's cute, it's funny, but then the analytical side of it hits, and I'm thinking, what the fuck would I use a clone for? Yeah, it's great that Homer has it. It's you're going to do my chores and things like that, but what would you actually use a clone for, and would that clone actually be an exact replica of you? Memories, mannerisms, things like that, because all the Homers that get copied all seem to be extremely dumb, or in one case, a much older version of Homer from the Tracy Ullman Show.
Well, and in one case, a much more Peter Griffin version of Homer as well.
I didn't see the resemblance on that one.
Oh, maybe it was just me.
Well, speaking of Family Guy, when he's dealing with the clones for the first time, all I wrote down was Bitch Stewie. And if you know what Bitch Stewie is, then you'll know the joke. But it's just the idea that Stewie clones himself and the clone is just a lot dumber. And he calls him Bitch Stewie. And that's pretty much what these Homers were for Homer. They were just his errand boy.
Well, and I viewed their stupidity as an exact copy. I was concerned that when the copies made copies, they weren't dumber. And then I was like, well, they're Homers. How would I know the difference?
How dumb is too dumb? Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I like the hammock gag. I love any hammock joke in The Simpsons. It's a nice callback to other hammock jokes. But Don, if you were cloned, what would you do with your clone?
I don't know. That's the weird thing. You want to have some nefarious thing. You want to have some cool thing. Maybe divvy up work. I don't know. It's one of those things that I haven't fully wrapped my head around it. Plus, I don't think the world will be better off with more than one me.
I agree.
Actually, you know what? I take that back. I would clone myself so James could always have me around. No?
Just another mouth to feed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you fed him.
Just fit a bucket of fish heads once a week.
I would like to. I would try different hairstyles on mine and then see how I look. I would. I would sit him down and I would just give him any food that he wanted, just all the time, and then I would post pictures of him on Facebook, right? Because he'd gain a lot of weight. Okay, and then the next time I go somewhere, people would be like, "Wow, you look really good. Have you lost weight?" And I wouldn't have done anything. Brilliant.
So walking before and after.
Your hair looks worse.
What hair? Oh, there you go. I could shave off his little bit of hair and then add it to my little bit of hair, and then we'd have half the hair of everyone else. It'd be great.
That's a lot of work.
That is. I don't see either of us putting in that much effort.
I think if I had a clone, I would do the same thing that I would do with a twin, which would just be magic tricks, like in The Prestige. I'd be doing the transported man all the time. People would have to ask me to stop. I'd be doing it so often. Yeah. That's as far as I got with that thought process.
Only you guys would never take turns. Got it.
Yeah. Well, here's another thought. I mean, they eventually are able to corral all the homers or the copies, believed copies, by getting a giant donut over the Springfield Gorge. Now, what would it be that if you made the same mistake as Homer, what would it take for you to be enticed?
I really don't know because I hate everything. I feel like it would have to be like, hey, there's silence over here.
Wow.
Like,
well, let's go with food then. Let's stick with food.
I don't think anything would work.
Really?
Yeah.
But we're talking. But your clones though, your clones would have to fall for it, not you.
Yeah, but are they as? I'm not saying I'm intelligent, but are they as intelligent as I am wherever I am on the spectrum there?
Well, let's treat it like the carbon copy, the Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox. Like the quality is going to keep going down, right?
Oh, well, then they'd go anywhere for chicken wings. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've had the food talk before. If you dangled a crunch wrap in front of me, not just my dumb clones, I'd fall off a cliff. So.
Not if you caught the crunch wrap and then sailed away to heaven.
Uh-huh.
Well, if that happens on my tombstone, you can put that I died doing what I love.
So what's yours, Don?
I actually am ready and prepared with this one. It would have to be.
I really got to you. I was just kidding.
Yeah, you pissed me off the other day.
Is it a 1980s Pizza Hut pizza?
No. Because that had to deal with what we would have wanted to be able to get again. It would have to be a genuine Louisiana snow cone, like shaved ice, not Hawaiian shaved ice. Yeah. It would have to be the shaved ice that I got when I was a kid. Well, I still got it like not too long ago. Or the daiquiris that they have all over Louisiana, which is if either of you haven't been, there are drive-through daiquiri shops all throughout Louisiana. And Louisiana's open container laws are very simple. If the straw is out of the paper, it's considered an open container. So basically, you would have had to pierce the hole. If you have not broken the paper wrapping off of the straw and it's evident that the straw hole has not been pierced, it's not considered an open container.
Wow, that's some insider info. Don, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been to Hanson's Snow Blizz?
I don't recall.
It's in NOLA.
No, I was getting into like in the boonies.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Well, follow-up question. You get a shaved ice. What are the two flavors and toppings you get?
It's not 2. I'm always getting rainbow. Next question.
Oh, interesting. Oh, do you get condensed milk, or do you skip that and just go with ice cream?
That. No. I just go
just the ice.
I just go straight with the ice.
You're not paying the extras for the extra stuff.
I didn't then. Now I will. I had kid money. I have adult money now.
Well, what would you get now?
I would get it with the ice cream and the cream. I've had it that way.
Okay.
And I tell you right now, if it was a huge one that was out there, like my clones are fucking doomed. Fucking doomed.
So back to this episode.
This conversation about snow cones is more interesting than this episode.
That's the problem right here. Like this skit is actually fun. It's very Simpson-y, but it's still weird enough that I'm okay with it being on the Treehouse episodes. But yeah, there isn't a lot to say about it, other than it makes me miss the Hammock District, and that's it.
I like that Flanders died again.
Oh, shit, I totally missed that. I didn't keep track either.
I also like how Gil keeps coming up in this episode, because Gil's like a farmer in this bit.
Right.
And I love Gil. He's one of my favorite. Or no, he's growing crops in this one. Yeah, he's one of my favorite characters. I just love the struggle of Gil.
But you know what's weird is I never feel sorry for him.
Oh no.
I never feel sorry. I mean, if it were someone we knew, I mean, or even someone that was a regular on the show and then was going through that, which they've done before, where somebody was down on their luck, great. But the whole thing about Gil, you're like, oh man, how is he going to get fucked over this time? It's like Mr. Bill.
Only he's Mr. Bill.
Yeah.
Mr. Bill.
Oh my.
Oh no.
Okay. One last serious question.
Okay.
One last serious question. All right. With respect to the clones themselves, if your spouse had cloned themselves, would you give a shit? Because at the end, Marge, she kind of doesn't care when she realizes, oh, this Homer doesn't have a belly button. It's not the real Homer. She just doesn't care because she's going to get back rub. Would you actually care if your spouse were cloned and it was the clone that you were with? Actually, even further than that, is it cheating if you're with your spouse's or partner's clone?
Jeez. This has really escalated quickly.
I don't think it's that. I think... See, the problem I have is from just like an inconvenience point of view, where do they share the same memories? Like, am I going to have to like hear the same stories again, or retell stories, or like to give frame of reference all goddamn day? Like, is that part of my life now?
I wonder which one would be more annoying, to hear the same stories over and over again, or to have to tell her all the stuff she doesn't know.
I think it's definitely hearing the same stories again.
I think I'd go the other way, because I'm really good at zoning out.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a hard time zoning out, especially when I'm annoyed that I'm listening to something for the second time, or third time, or fourth time.
How do you feel about the fifth? Oh, anyway. So my answer to the question is, cheating is defined within the relationship, so it would depend on the pact you have with the other person, and what is cheating and what is not. So there's no real answer to your question. Maybe she's like, thank God, I don't have to do this anymore. I have a clone for that shit. See? It's hard to say.
You know how people have like a list of 3 people it's okay to like
That's what I was just thinking about.
My list is just 3 clones. How romantic is that?
It depends. Are they clones of your woman or like clones of other people? Like, are you like, oh, I want a Jennifer Lawrence clone?
Ugh. Not that one.
I chose that one purposely just for you.
Ugh. Try again.
I will not.
I don't know, Dom, what do you think?
I don't think it's cheating.
You said that in a very Homer way. Like, I picture your fingers like
I don't think it's cheating in that sense, because if the person cloned themselves, and even with the intent, let's say it is, oh, I don't know, you got a headache, or you're not feeling well, or they're working so much, and it's like, oh, here's a version of me that you can have sex with. Like, they're intentionally making the clone. No.
That sounds hilarious.
Hold on. What are the ethics of the clone, though? Like, can you lie to the clone? Can you be like, yeah, like, real version of you used to do this stuff all the time?
I think if there are rules set up, I mean, it's, but then, like, oh man, what if the clone starts getting feelings?
Well, then you start over with a new clone. Haven't you seen the movie Moon? They just cycle through clones.
Way to spoil it.
Would your clone end up becoming like a Stepford wife?
Oh, Nicole Kidman? I hope so. Oh, was that Nicole Kidman? Or that was the Hours? Oh, she in
No,
Stepford
she
Wives
was
also?
in it. She was in it. Spoiler alert, she doesn't become one.
Oh, rats. Well,
you know what's really nice about this conversation? The way that we never have to record another Simpsons episode now, because nobody's ever going to keep listening to this.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair. But to be fair, like, after watching these episodes of The Simpsons, nobody's ever going to want to watch another episode again, so...
I do feel like there's a lot of people that are like, you fuckers, I watched these just for your show. and all I can say is it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Well, they're lamenting with us. They're feeling our pain. And
no, let me actually take a second to tell the truth on that part really fast. I do find it interesting how many like really held up. Like again, I'm only through these 15 episodes so far, so I'm only speaking to those. But I do think it's interesting how many held up, how many are pure nostalgia for me. Mm-hmm. And then there's been a couple new ones that I hadn't seen that I actually enjoy, including Send in the Clones. And I don't know, like I thought there would be more that I really loved from earlier. And then it was kind of like, I see why I liked that when I was this age. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know if you guys have that a level of growth since then.
Definitely. Just tell my belt.
Jesus. Yeah, because out of the three that which we've got the Fright to Creep and Bear Harms, I like it. I like it, but it's not something I see as very memorable. There's definitely some lines that work well in it, but even with this one, there's kind of that throwback to time travel in this one again. Well, speaking of which, you guys want to jump into the next one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I can summarize the next one. It is the Fright to Creep and Scare Harms. Just a terrible pun.
So terrible.
On the Second Amendment. And what happens is the Simpsons children are burying their goldfish, and Lisa happens upon the grave of Billy the Kid, and it just says, I dream of a world without guns. So then Lisa, as she often does in Treehouse of Horrors, sets in motion the story by ruining, the equilibrium of society, and bans guns. The entire city bans guns, and then the cemetery comes to life, and it's Billy the Kid and the Sundance Kid, and then Kaiser Wilhelm, who was my favorite part of the whole episode. Just the part where he's in stirrups and he's saying yippee, whippy, wimpy. It's just, I still laugh at that part. But it's just the story of how removing guns can lead to issues with corpses and zombies. What did you guys think of this one?
I felt like I was watching the news because a bunch of cowboy wannabes were hanging out with a Nazi.
Oh boy.
Don?
I'm sitting around. Kaiser Wilhelm was not. Anyway, yeah. When I see this one, and this is almost 20 years. I mean, it's 18 years ago since this came out, and I'm just realizing how much has not fucking changed. I mean, these were the discussions we were having in the early 2000s, the discussions we were having in the mid 90s, early 90s, the 80s. And it's one of those, we can't get our fucking shit together. The only thing that has stopped school shootings is COVID. And it's not anybody taking the right action to have things like universal background checks or actually train people in how to use weapons and how not to use weapons, or training police forces to de-escalate a situation rather than shoot someone in the back 7 times. And it's just real interesting as far as how this discussion about, getting rid of weapons then turns into, I mean, this is like a wet dream for Fox News viewers. Like, it's, oh, they banned the guns. Look at those liberals in Springfield. They banned the guns, and see, the fucking dead zombies rose up and started shooting at them with their guns. Ha ha ha. I'm like, take that, libs. I could just see this as somebody watching this and as their confirmation that guns will definitely save you. I mean, but it deals with the whole idea of gun ownership, or at least just rampant gun ownership, the complete banning of weapons, time travel, morality. Like, there's all this, and even the whole thing, like, at the end where Mo takes the fucking time machine.
Right?
And he's like, I'm going back in time to go get me some caveman hookers. I mean, I love how Mo is just such a fucking creep. No matter what the situation is. He's just a fucking creep. Even as all this violence is taking place, and you've got Homer coming in from the future and Homer coming in from the past. Like, it's just, I don't know. This episode could be made today because nothing has changed.
I don't know that you could do the caveman hookers joke today.
I think you still could. It's Mo. It's one of those. It's like you've got South Park, you've got Family Guy, you got American Dad, you got all these raunchy shows out there, right? I think you could still make that joke, because even when they did the merging or the oh gosh, when they combined Family Guy and The Simpsons, they had the rape joke, and that was only about 2 or 3 years ago, and I just want to know
why.
It was
why caveman.
Have you seen Mo?
Well, yeah, but he's going for hookers, so it doesn't matter what he looks like. If he was just like trying to find a woman that thought he was attractive, sure.
No. I mean, because Mo looks like a Neanderthal. That's what I was referring to. Because maybe he saw some kinship there with that part of the world, or that timeline.
Do you think he's going to take some flaming Mo's to like impress them with fire?
Oh God, you just entered a whole new...
He's not that smart.
That's true. All right, Don, if you were going to travel back in time, where would you get your hookers? No, I'm kidding. Please don't answer that. All right.
If I were to travel back in time, first off, I'm not traveling back in time. But if I could travel back in time, because obviously it's making it seem as that timelines and things get messed up and played with and fixed. Like, it seems like everything stays on the same timeline no matter what. If I were to go back in time, I would go back and who would I kill?
How did this go to killing? What happened here?
Well, you mentioned Nazis and stuff like that. God, I kill Elvis.
What? Why?
Yeah, fuck Elvis.
I don't even like Elvis, but why Elvis?
Because I'm like 45 minutes away from Tupelo, and I can't fucking stand seeing that sign, birthplace of Elvis. And I'm about 50 minutes away from Memphis, so it is what it is.
Why not just take the sign down? Then you don't have to see it anymore.
Oh, you.
All right, if I was going to go back in time, I would get my hookers from... No. I don't know. Like, I love time travel, and I still, to this day, have no idea what I would do or not do or go see. I would be absolutely terrified of fucking up the past, so I think I would have to go to the future. If I fuck shit up there, I'm not supposed to be there anyway, right? Oh, at this point? like in 2020, I would go 5 years in the future to see if it's fucking here.
Well, yeah.
That's fair. I killed the episode again.
All right, Thomas, what about you? I don't think you answered it.
Fuck, I'd rather just be dead.
Perfect.
And time travel?
Yeah, no, I don't like the past, future, present. I don't care about any of it. Just, if I had to choose, just let somebody else do it and I'll just die.
I just joke with James about that all the time because I can't time travel. I mean, it's there's a reason why Marty McFly went back to 1955 and not anybody of color going back into
Goldie
1950.
Wilson. Can you imagine Goldie if he had the DeLorean?
He comes forward. There's a fan film where Goldie Wilson comes forward. And
what?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
I want to fucking see this shit.
I'll send it to you.
Sounds amazing.
I'm not going to spoil it, but it definitely works. But all right, let's jump to this last one. It's the Island of Dr. Hibbert, and it is, of course, based off. It was a parody of the Island of Dr. Moreau, where basically the Simpsons themselves go to on a trip, and they find themselves on this island where Dr. Hibbert is running all these wild experiments. Now, this one I thought was cute at first, and then rewatching it, it still has its moments because it still gets into that same morality as with the cloning, time travel, as we talked about before, where Dr. Hibbert is doing all these experiments on people, and of course, it doesn't seem as though they're consenting to it. But it brings us some interesting things about animals, or at least animal hybrids with human beings, and what would work and what wouldn't work. What did you guys think about this episode?
I mean, I like the story of the Island of Dr. Moreau. I thought this was just like a fun copy of that. You get to see all the Simpsons characters like in that world, but I didn't enjoy it. Like, I didn't think it was worthwhile.
You didn't like the Ned being milked scene?
No.
Hey, Homer, can you help me out for a second?
I like when he's riding Ned and he's doing the whole like in the jungle, like he's just humming along and enjoying the ride, not worrying at all about how strange the situation is. Overall, Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, well, he even has sex with Marge knowing that she was a panther.
I love that he doesn't admit that till after, though.
Yeah. He finishes the job, and then he admits it.
Which means he loves
my favorite part of this. My favorite part of this is when he gives the speech about how you guys just lay around all day and get fed, and he's like going off, and then he's like, "Oh, where do I sign up?" Like, I really identified with that part. That's me right there.
I remember watching this one with my dad, and he like right after made me watch the 1996 adaptation of The Island of Dr. Moreau, like that famous one that just is terrible, and there's a documentary about it because the production was so crazy, and the movie just ended up being so terrible and a huge loss to the studio. But that's what I think of when I think of The Island of Dr. Moreau. To me, the Simpsons one is just forgettable. Like, it wasn't very clever in my mind, and yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Makes sense.
Well, there's really not that much with this one. I mean, there are obvious questions. What animal would you be combined with, and why?
Oh, we're having the lobster conversation.
Can I pick a tapeworm?
I know Don.
A tapeworm. A tapeworm.
That's a Simpsons joke when Apu's looking at his picture of all the things he's going to be reincarnated into, and he's like, "Ooh, a tapeworm, assistant to Lorne Michaels. It's going to be a rough couple lifetimes."
You're like a fucking encyclopedia, no matter what I pull out. I'm gonna have to start researching obscure Simpsons jokes.
I always struggle
Anyway.
with this question because, like, I think the obvious answer is a dog, right? Because you just have an easy, lazy life. But there's dogs who don't have easy, lazy lives. So what animal do you pick?
Right.
And I guess, like, you'd have to be a predator with a long lifespan. I'd be like an orca.
Okay.
Huh. I'm
Don
going to go
wants
the
to be a
opposite
panda.
direction.
You're going to be a goldfish?
I'm going to be a fly.
Just like Bart, the fly?
Just get it over quickly.
Yeah, they get to fly, they get to fuck all the time, and then they die like 3 days later. That sounds fantastic.
Well, there's Bart wanted to be a butterfly because nobody ever suspects the butterfly.
Can I just be the cocoon part? Like, just stay in my cocoon?
Can I be Steve Guttenberg in Cocoon?
I don't see why not. Nobody else wants to be.
Perfect.
Oh my god.
What do you want to be, Don?
Oh god, this is actually a difficult one. It's not what James would typically think. I would have gone with either a shark, just because being able to use the oceans to travel and swimming and you really don't have a predator after you, or I don't know, some type of raptor, as far as either a peregrine falcon or an eagle, just because of the flight and the speed at which they can actually go.
I thought you meant like Velociraptor, and I was going to be like, damn.
No. I made sure to always correct myself, because the school I went to, they had a raptor center, and I was like, you guys have fucking dinosaurs here? This is awesome. They're like, no, it's for predatory birds. It's for hawks and things like that. And I was like, now the dinosaurs would be cooler. So I actually thought it was a paleontology thing that they had. It was bird studies, avian studies.
If I could be any bird of prey, I would be Harley Quinn.
I'm going to go with Huntress.
I like Huntress. I would be Harley Quinn so I could look at Huntress.
Thank you.
See? I thought ahead.
I guess that sums up this episode. I mean,
And everybody's
Anybody have
excited for that. Everyone listening, I'm so sorry. But we'll be back tomorrow to torture you more.
This concludes another episode of the Necronama.com with James Sabata, Don Guillory, and Thomas Sexbot Brungardt.